so many different talking points from this week. And I want to say I don't know where to start, but I know exactly where to start. The man, the myth, the legend, the former MVP, the 9-time All-Star, right? NBA leading scorer for the past 3 seasons, I believe. The Beard, James Harden, finally gets his request after, quite frankly, getting to the point where he was like, you know what? It's not working. He was just like, it's not working. They tried, I tried, we tried, but it's not working. The Nets caved, making me again look like a fool. In the previous pod, I was like, I'll get traded. I'll be the Nets dude. But you know what I need to stop doing? I need to stop thinking like myself. I need to stop thinking like a rational human being. And I need to start thinking more irrationally. And I think I'll get more predictions right. Because I still think the Nets fumbled a little bit with that trade. And I think the Rockets fumbled as well. I think the only real winners were the Cavs and the Pacers, who had no business being in the trade to begin with.
I ain't complaining at all. Not even slightly, bro.
But nevertheless, the trade happened. And it was kind of like a whoa, but like not as in, oh my gosh, you got traded. It was, whoa, you like 4 teams? Like,
but the thing is, we all knew this trade was coming. Like, we all knew it was coming for the longest time. We all knew Harden was unhappy. We all knew, like, a player of his caliber would have many, many teams scrambling for him, trying to do what they can to put together a trade package. But the trade package that we envisioned compared to the trade package that happened was, the math just wasn't mathing. Like, it wasn't, like...
You know, like, the Nets turned down Ben Simmons for first-round picks. But I'm just like, what I don't get about that, I get it in the sense that, you know, the Rockets turned down Ben Simmons for first-round pick. And I get it, but like, cool. I don't want Ben Simmons because, 1, he can't shoot. 2, like, I've already got John Wall. I've already traded for John Wall. You know, like, it doesn't make sense. But like, you take first-round picks because you're like, right, cool, we already traded all of our first-round picks for Westbrook and for Chris Paul, so we need to get some back. But it's like, you're getting first-round picks off the Nets and you're giving them James Harden. Like, are you not thinking in your head, we're giving them a really good player. They already have 2 really good players. They're probably going to be really good. So those picks we're going to get back from them are going to be like 20-something, 30-something. And yeah, cool. You might be thinking Jamal Murray went in the 20-something pick. Like, do you know what I'm saying? But for every Jamal Murray, there's a Phil Thompson. And you're thinking, who's Phil Thompson? I don't know. But there's probably someone called Phil Thompson who got drafted 27th by the Washington Wizards at some point in the last 10 years. So it's a thing where, like, for the Nets, I feel like you could have got more, man. Like, what did they really get? Obviously, they got Harden, which is the main objective. But what did they really get?
No.
Like,
the thing is, like,
gave, and like for the Rockets, sorry, I keep getting the teams mixed up. For the Rockets, it's like, what did you get? What did you get?
Because with the trade that we've seen, I don't even think they were necessarily trading for Harden. I think they were just trading for a big 3. And they just wanted it by any means necessary because you got KD and you got Kyrie, and they're thinking, listen, our window is now. We need something. Like, we need to get something or the other because this window's short because KD's getting older, coming back off an injury. I mean, he's still KD and he's still big.
He ain't balling like it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. He's still KD and he's still
balling like he's coming up a migraine, bro.
And then you got Kyrie, who, even though he has all of his issues, he's still a baller. Undeniable. He's still one of the top players in the league. And then you're looking at both of them and you're saying, listen, we can't squander this. We can't let this go to waste. We need to do something. So that's where, from that perspective, I get why they were clamoring to get a Harden just by any means necessary. Because at the end of the day, the trade window's still open, so they can still pick up players. They got the exception for Spencer Dinwiddie. They got an exception for somebody else. I can't remember who, but I think somebody else got injured as well. So they got 2 exceptions there, 2 mid-level exceptions of injuries or whatever. So they can pick up a couple guys there, given they won't be as good as Spencer Dinwiddie and whoever else is injured, but it's still there. But they desperately need it. But, you know, you can kind of understand because at the end of the day, you got KD, former MVP, former scoring champion. You got Harden, former MVP, former scoring champion. You got Kyrie, he's won a ring. and he's Kyrie. Dribble God, all this, that, and the other. So like, it makes sense from that perspective. From other perspectives, not so much. Not so much. And the Cavs proved that. But we'll get that. We'll get to that.
Not at all. Like I hear everything you're saying, yeah. But my thing is like, cool. It's championship or bust, right? And now that you've done that, because like KD and Kyrie wasn't championship or bust. Because what did you give up? Like you traded D'Lo for KD in a signing trade. Like, bruh, that's good. You got Kyrie to boot, and you kept your core. That was the main. That's what I don't get. That was the main thing about the Nets that was so attractive, is that they had that depth. You had Joe Harris, you had Karis LeVert, you had Jarrett Allen that was quietly becoming one of the best bigs in the league, right? You had spacing with Taurean Prince, and you had Spencer Dinwiddie as well as your potential sixth man of the year. You had all Dinwiddie goes down, and that kind of quells your title hopes for this season. And I think that's what pushed them into panic mode a little bit. Kyrie starts to do, am I a basketball player? Am I not a basketball player? I don't know. And I'm not even going to get onto Kyrie because Kyrie had his reasons. I don't know Kyrie's life. I don't know his reasons. So I'm not gonna get onto him. But in terms of relying on him from a basketball perspective, I'm not even going to talk about personal things, because I think when the push comes to shove, he'll play if he can play. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what's it, week 5 or week 6 of the NBA season, and he's not playing. It's not a big deal. They're going to make the playoffs. It'll be all right. But I think the bigger issue for Kyrie is he going to be healthy come playoff time? That was always my concern. I'm not even concerned about KD being healthy, because I think the Achilles was a freak injury. He had basically 2 years off. He's back now. He's playing the best basketball since his MVP year, from an individual basis. But like, I don't know about. I wasn't sure about Kyrie. I was like, cool, you're trading for Harden. And my same thing I said last week on the pod was, if you give up that depth, you're pissed a little bit. Like, you're pissed a little bit. Like, the one thing that the Lakers didn't have last year was depth. Aside from AD and Bron, a lot of the time it was where you getting scoring from, where you getting the buckets from. Like, yeah, you've got good defenders. You know, Dwight's a good rim protector. JaVale's a good rim protector. You know, Caruso is a good perimeter defender. Avery Bradley is a good perimeter defender. None of these guys were buckets, though. And now you've got Dennis Schroeder as your secondary playmaker. You've got Marc Gasol as your post playmaker, who's only going to get better as the season goes along, and he drops off weight, and he gets fit again. You've got AD, who's telling you that he's annoyed with his performance because he knows in his heart that he's coasting. Like, LeBron is playing the least minutes of his life, still averaging 26 points a game. The Lakers have gotten stronger. The Clippers are looking better. I'm not sold, but they're looking better, right? The Bucks are still the Bucks. The Philly are flying right now. You need depth. Like, the Warriors lost against the Raptors because they didn't have depth. They had Clay, they had KD, they had Steph, and that's wow. That's amazing. Bear in mind, those are 3 pieces that fit magnificently. Because Steph is already playing off ball, Clay is playing off ball, KD can play off ball, so Draymond can function as the primary playmaker, and he's not going to be the one taking the shots. And then it's just spreading the shots around them. And they're always, especially Steph and Clay, they're always giving the ball up and relocating and setting screens for one another. Kyrie, KD, and James, well, no, you take KD out of it because he can play off ball already. We've seen that. And he's already played with one selfish ball handler already. So, like, we already know he's willing to sacrifice. But Kyrie and Harden, they've both come from situations where they were the man. Even when Kyrie was on the Cavs with LeBron, he still led the team in shots. So it's a different dynamic. But even still, the Warriors lost in 2019 because KD goes down, Clay goes down. My thing is this. I understand getting Harden. unpopular opinion, I know Kyrie's a cult favorite. I know people love to watch Kyrie play ball. I think they should have traded Kyrie and they should have kept some of that depth, because Harden's going to be in the playoffs. Harden's problem in the playoffs is that he's always had to be the man, and he hasn't had enough to get over the hump. KD is someone that has been the man in the playoffs and has gotten over the hump. If James is having a bad shooting night, I highly doubt KD's going to have one too. And vice versa. KD and Harden to me is a more formidable duo than Kyrie and KD.
For an elite top, I put my heart on these speakers. No, I don't need job on my life, so no more procedure. Call all my niggas, say bro, it's gonna be in a